Hey guys, today we're talking about solving rational equations, which is super exciting because what it allows us to do, it allows us to solve for an actual answer for x because we have an equal sign. And so that equal sign is going to allow us to solve for an actual answer for x. So instead of just adding my two fractions together and getting a fraction as an answer, we actually get an x equals something. So the way we do this is, remember back whenever we solved those basic equations, what we would do is we would be like, think about like this equation, like x over 4 equals 6. To get rid of that 4, we would just multiply both sides by 4, and it would cancel this out, and we get x equals 24. Well, the same thing kind of works here. What we do is we need to first find a common denominator, bring everything into being that common denominator, and then multiply the common denominator away. Let me show you how it works. So first off, our common denominator here for 2, 4, and 1 is going to be 4. 2 goes into 4, 4 definitely goes into 4, and 1 goes into anything. So our common denominator is going to be 4, and we're just going to change each one of those fractions to that common denominator. So to get from 2 to 4, we have to multiply by 2. So we go 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 2 gets me to that 4. Now to get from 4 to 4, I don't have to multiply by anything. So we're just going to rewrite what was already on top, 3x. It already is over 4. Then to get from 1 to 4, I need to multiply by 4. So 5 times 4 is 20. And then we're just, to cancel out those denominators, we're going to multiply everything by that common denominator. So I'm just going to multiply everything by 4. So it's going to cancel out, and we're going to end up with, this is going to cancel, cancel, cancel. That's the awesome thing. Just bam, bam, bam. All of our denominators, if there's the same, if they are the same, and if you have an equal sign, we can just cancel them all out at the same time. And so we're just going to get 2x plus 3x equals 20. All right, I'm going to move this up here so we can finish working this out. 2x plus 3x equals 20. So now, all I have to do to solve this, first, combine like terms. 2x and 3x makes 5x. Then we just need to get that x by itself, so we're going to divide both sides by 5, and we get x equals 4. So it really is that simple. All we are needing to do here is solve for our, get our common denominator, cancel those denominators out, and then solve whatever is left over. Now, we could do it a little bit quicker. I'll show you that on the next one. Undefined. Let's talk about undefined. I forgot to talk about undefined real quick. Remember, undefined is anything that makes the denominator 0. So for this case, there's nothing that can make the denominator 0 because there's no x in the denominator. So my undefined is that there is none. So I'm just writing NA, not applicable. There is no undefined. However, if we ever have a problem where the undefined matches my answer, that answer cannot be true. Okay? All right, let's take a look here at number 2. So number 2, once again, we are looking for a common denominator. So my common denominator, we're going to look at these. We have x, 5x, and 10. The common denominator for x, 5x, and 10 is going to be 10x, because that's what they all go into. So our common denominator is 10x, and that means that my undefined is going to be x cannot equal 0, because if I plugged in 0 down here, or 0 in for x there, it makes 0 in the bottom. It's a big no-no. So there's our undefined, there's all these common denominators. So I'm going to show you the quicker way. What we can do now is we can just start off with multiplying everything by what is missing. What is missing from the common denominator. Okay, we could write out our common denominator and then cancel it out like I showed you on the first problem, or we can do it this way. So what we can do, think about it, to get from x to 10x, what am I missing? I'm missing a 10. So I could multiply both the top and the bottom here by 10. Same thing, and so that's going to change. 6 times 10 is 60. Then, to get from 5x to 10x, we're missing a 2. So we can multiply the top and the bottom by 2. And that gives me minus 2. Then here, my 10x on the end, to get from 10 to 10x, I'm missing the x part. So I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by x. And we're going to get equals 3x. Notice how I didn't also write the denominators. If they're going to cancel out anyways, why do I need to write them? And so it's a slight bit quicker way. If you want to write out the denominators and then cancel them out, do that. I will do that again on the next problem just to make sure you see both ways. All right, now 60 minus 2 is 58. So we have 58 equals 3x. Then to solve, we just need to divide both sides by 3, and we're going to get x equals 58 over 3. Don't let fraction answers freak you out on this, okay? Fraction answers are not scary. So we have just x equals, that kind of looks like a 3 there, but that's a 5. 58 over 3 equals x. That does not match my undefined, so it is a true answer. All right, now let's take a look at number 3. So number 3 here, I have 3x over x plus 1 minus 5 over 2x equals 3 over 2x. So once again, we're looking for a common denominator. Now in this case, there's not really a whole lot in common between x plus 1 and 2x. So what we're going to do instead is I'm just going to mush them together. We're going to have a common denominator of 2x times x plus 1. Okay? So there's our common denominator, 2x times x plus 1. That means my undefined is going to be x can't equal 0 or negative 1. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and write out my common denominator again just to make sure we're on the same page. So we're going to have this, we're going to write out 2x times x plus 1 minus, another parentheses, 2x times x plus 1 equals 2x times x plus 1. Okay? So then, I just need to think, okay, to get from x plus 1 to 2x times x plus 1, we're missing the 2x. So I'm going to multiply by 2x to the top and bottom. 2x times 3x is 6x squared. Next, to get from 2x to 2x x plus 1, we're missing the x plus 1. So I'm going to multiply by x plus 1 to the top and bottom. And so I'm going to have 5 times x plus 1 here. And then lastly, to get from 2x to 2x plus 1, once again, I need to multiply by x plus 1. And so that's going to leave me with 3 times x plus 1. All right, so just like last time, we can multiply each side by the denominator and cancel out those denominators as long as they're the same and as long as there's an equal sign. So I can just go wham, 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 bye, 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 like I'm a Backstreet Boy or something. So I can cancel those out, and I can get 6x squared minus, and I'm going to go ahead and distribute here. We're going to take negative 5 and we're going to multiply it to x. We're going to get negative 5x. Then I'm going to take negative 5 and multiply it to 1. I'm going to get negative 5. And then we're going to go 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 1 is 3. Then I can't really combine like terms, so we're just going to move everything to one side. Remember, we can factor these out using the x and plus method, and that can give us our answers. So we're going to minus 3x here and minus 3 here, minus 3x, minus 3, and we're going to get 6x squared minus 8x minus 8 equals 0. And so now we're just going to factor this. Remember, the first step in factoring is always looking for a greatest common factor. And my greatest common factor on this one is 2. So I'm going to pull out a 2 to the front. We're going to have 2 times 3x squared minus 4x minus 4 equals 0. We're going to label my A, my B, and my C. I'm going to draw my x and my plus. Remember, on top of my x goes A times C. So in this case, that's 3 times negative 4. So we're going to have a negative 12 on top. Then we have our B on bottom. And my B is negative 4. So we're going to think of two numbers that multiply to equal to negative 12 and add to equal negative 4. And in this case, those two numbers are going to be negative 6 and 2. So those two are also going to go on the right side of my plus sign. And we're going to have AX in my plus. So we're going to go 3x and 3x in our plus. This first one can reduce and become x minus 2. This second one cannot reduce, so it's just going to stay 3x plus 2. So these are my two factors. And what we can end up doing is we can set both of these factors to 0, and we're going to have two answers on this problem because it is a quadratic. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to set x minus 2 equal to 0 first. Set 3x plus 2 equal to 0 second. Don't worry about this 2 out in front. It doesn't have an x, so it doesn't matter. Okay? So then, we're going to add 2 to both sides here. We get x equals 2. We're going to minus 2 and divide by 3, and we're going to get x equals negative 2/3. So here are our two answers. We can check our answers and make sure that they are not undefined. Both of them are not, so both of those are our correct answers. Okay, let's turn the page. Let's take a look at, we're actually going to skip number 4 and move on to number 5. If you want to see number 4 worked out, it is in the notes that's on Canvas, okay? So go check that out. All right, so now number 5. So for number 5, first off, look for our least common denominator. And my least common denominator, to find that, we're going to need to factor this x squared minus 4. And I'm going to factor this x squared minus 4 by using difference of squares. So we're going to factor it to x plus 2x minus 2. X times x is x squared. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. So we can mark that off there. Okay, then I'm going to be like, oh, my common denominator is going to be x plus 2x minus 2 because those two fit inside of this. So that's my least common denominator, x plus 2 times x minus 2. And that's also going to tell me what my undefined is. My undefined is going to be x cannot equal negative 2 or positive 2. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to find my common denominator, which is that, and now we're just going to multiply by what we need to get to that point. So to get x minus 2 to that common denominator, I have to multiply by x plus 2. So we're going to multiply by x plus 2 to the top as well. So we're going to go 9 times x plus 2. Same thing's true here. To get from x plus 2 to that, we need to multiply by x minus 2. So we're going to have 6x times x minus 2. And lastly, on the other side of my equal sign, I don't need to multiply this by anything. It already has both pieces. So we're just going to leave that 9x squared that was on top the same. All right, now let us distribute, combine like terms, and solve this equation. So first, let's distribute. Let's go 9 times x is 9x. 9 times 2 is 18. 6x times x is 6x squared. And 6x times negative 2 is negative 12x. And that equals 9x squared on the other side. All right, then we're going to have 6x squared here. That doesn't combine with anything. 9x and negative 12x, though, combine. They make negative 3x. 18 doesn't combine with anything, so we just have 18. This all equals 9x squared. Then I'm going to minus 9x squared to bring it over to that left side. Okay, so I'm going to minus 9x squared to this side, minus 9x squared to this side, and we're going to get negative 3x squared minus 3x plus 18 equals 0. And now all I need to do is factor that out. So remember, first step in factoring is look for a greatest common factor. For this one, my GCF is, of course, going to be negative 3. So I need to pull out a negative 3 from each one of these. So it's going to be negative 3 times x squared plus x minus 6 equals 0. And now I just need to finish factoring. I'm going to build my parentheses. We're going to go x times x is x squared. And we need to think of two numbers that multiply to negative 6 and add to equal that 1 in the middle. And so my two numbers are going to be positive 3 and negative 2. Okay? So we got my factors set equal to 0. So we're very close to solving. All I got to do is set both of those factors equal to 0, and we got our answer. So we can go x plus 3 equals 0 and x minus 2 equals 0. If x plus 3 equals 0, we just got a minus 3. We get our first answer of x equals negative 3. Add 2 to both sides, we get our second answer of x equals 2. Then we are going to check and see. Remember, check and see, are these true solutions? And no, because one of my undefined says x can't equal 2. So if x can't equal 2, that means that this is not a true answer, and my only true answer is x equals negative 3. All right, guys, we are going to stop there. Like I said, 4 and number 6 are in your notes if you wanted to pull those up. If you have any questions over this, please be sure to let me know. And the homework's in Go Formative. All right, thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your day.